Imagine waking up every morning knowing you'll have to kneel before a man who sees you as nothing. Imagine wiping his shoes with your hands, kissing the leather, and swallowing your pride. All for a single reason that burns deeper than shame. This is the story of Tina, a young woman whose quiet strength hid a secret so explosive it would shake the foundations of a billionaire's empire. What you're about to hear will leave you stunned, heartbroken, and inspired. Stay until the end, because when the truth unravels, nothing will ever be the same. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the girl who kissed the dust. Tina was only 20, her smooth, ebony skin glowing under the Lagos sun, but her eyes carried the weight of sleepless nights. She worked as a cleaner at Pinnacle Towers, a gleaming skyscraper in the heart of Victoria Island, its glass walls reflecting the ambition and wealth of Nigeria's elite. Inside, men in tailored suits and women in sharp stilettos moved with purpose, their gazes sliding past Tina as if she were invisible. To them, she was just the girl with the mop, the one who scrubbed their floors before they arrived and vanished before they noticed. Every morning, before the city fully woke, Tina was already at her post by the grand glass entrance. At precisely 7:30 a.m., a sleek black Mercedes-Benz would glide into the courtyard, its tinted windows shielding the icy stare of its owner, Victor Okoye, the billionaire CEO of Pinnacle Enterprises. As the car door opened, Tina's ritual began. "Good morning, sir," she'd whisper, eyes fixed on the ground. Victor would step out, one polished shoe extended like an emperor awaiting tribute. Tina would produce a crisp white cloth, kneel, and wipe his shoe with trembling hands, as if it were a priceless artifact. Then, in a moment that twisted her stomach, she'd lean forward and press her lips to the leather. Victor's lips would curl into a faint, joyless smirk before he strode into the building without a word. Tina would rise slowly, her knees aching, her pride crushed like the dust she swept away. The security guards exchanged glances. The receptionists whispered, "She's kissing his shoes again," one muttered. "Every single day," another replied, her voice laced with pity or scorn. Tina could never tell which. She avoided their eyes, gripping her mop like a lifeline. She didn't do this for them. She didn't do it for the meager paycheck. She did it for her mother, Rosa, whose frail body clung to life in their crumbling one-room home in Ajigunle. Tina never imagined her life would come to this. Kneeling before a man, swallowing her dignity to earn a few thousand naira. But Rosa's illness had stolen her choices. Their home was a patchwork of peeling walls and a leaky roof that groaned under the rain. The bare floor was cold, the mattress thin, the air thick with the scent of damp clothes and medicinal herbs. At night, Rosa's coughs tore through the silence, each one a dagger in Tina's heart. Sometimes, the coughing fits left Rosa gasping, her body trembling like a leaf in a storm. Tina would rush to her side, rubbing her back, whispering, "Breathe, mama, just breathe." One night, as Rosa sipped bitter herb tea, Tina sat beside her on the mat. "Mama," she said softly, "who is my father?" Rosa's eyes fluttered shut, her lips tightening like a locked gate. "My child," she murmured, "forget that man. He's not part of us." Tina's voice trembled. "But why, Mama? What did he do?" Rosa turned away, staring at the cracked wall. "You won't understand," she said, her voice heavy. "Promise me you'll never look for him." Tina nodded, but a spark of defiance flickered in her chest. "Why can't I know? Who is he?" She studied her mother's face, once radiant, now etched with pain. That face no longer smiled, it only sighed. 6 months earlier, Tina had trudged through Lagos with a worn folder, clutching her secondary school certificate and a letter from her principal. She knocked on office doors, her hope fading with each rejection. "No vacancies," they'd say, or worse, they'd eye her faded dress and turn her away without a word. Then she saw the sign at Pinnacle Towers, "Cleaner wanted. Apply within." It wasn't the future she dreamed of, but dreams didn't pay for medicine or food. She walked in, head high despite her nerves. The HR manager, a stern woman named Beatrice, barely glanced at her. "Any cleaning experience?" she asked. Tina nodded. Yes, Ma. I cleaned homes in Ajagunal. Beatrice handed her a form. Start tomorrow, 7 a.m. sharp. The next day, Tina arrived before dawn, her scarf neatly tied, her hands ready. They gave her a mop, a bucket, and a list of tasks. Floors, stairs, glass doors, toilets, corridors. She worked like a river, silent, steady, unending. No one spoke to her. No one saw her. She was a shadow, moving through the tower's gleaming halls. Her first paycheck was small, but to Tina, it was a lifeline. She bought medicine, rice, and herbs for Rosa, who smiled weakly and whispered, "God bless you, my child." Victor Okoye passed her daily, his eyes never meeting hers. He walked as if she were air, his silence louder than words. Tina didn't care. She wasn't there for his approval. She was there for survival. But one morning, everything shifted. Tina didn't show up on time. The night before, Rosa had collapsed, coughing blood, her frail body shaking in Tina's arms. There was no money for a hospital, no nurse in their neighborhood. Tina had run from house to house, pleading, "Please, does anyone know a doctor? My mother's dying." No one answered. The night stretched on, dark and merciless. Tina stayed by Rosa's side, holding her hand until dawn. When the sun rose, she wiped her tears, changed her clothes, and rushed to Pinnacle Towers, hours late. As she stumbled through the gate, her legs weak from exhaustion, Victor's voice cut through the air. "You, come here." Tina froze, her heart pounding. Victor strode toward her, his suit impeccable, his eyes blazing. "This isn't a market where you stroll in whenever you please," he snapped. Tina's voice cracked. "Sir, I'm sorry. My mother," she was coughing blood. "I had to, you're fired." He cut her off, his words sharp as a blade. Tina's knees buckled. She dropped to the ground, tears spilling. "Please, sir, this job is all we have. My mother's dying." Victor paused, his eyes narrowing. "You want her job back?" Tina nodded, desperate. "Yes, sir. I'll do anything." Victor's lips twitched. "Come to my house tonight. Wash every piece of clothing. Mine, my wife's, my children's. Then we'll talk." Tina's heart sank. This wasn't her job. But Rosa's face flashed in her mind. Pale, trembling, clinging to life. "Yes, sir," she whispered. Victor turned and walked away. Tina rose, her hands shaking, and returned her mop. She didn't know that night would change her life forever. What happened at Victor's mansion that night? A task so grueling, so humiliating, it would push Tina to her breaking point. But the real shock was yet to come. A secret buried for decades, waiting to explode. Keep watching to find out. That evening, Tina arrived at Victor's mansion, a sprawling estate that looked like it belonged in a Hollywood film. Marble floors gleamed under chandeliers, gold accents sparkled, and the air smelled of wealth. Victor barely acknowledged her, pointing to a laundry room overflowing with clothes, shirts, trousers, wrappers, socks, towels, piled high like a mountain. "Wash them all," he said, then disappeared. Tina sighed, rolled up her sleeves, and plunged her hands into cold, soapy water. Her back ached, her fingers pruned, but she kept washing. Then the sharp click of heels echoed. Sophia, Victor's wife, swept in, her elegance as cold as the marble beneath her feet. She dropped another basket at Tina's feet. "Wash these too," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. Tina glanced inside, lace underwear, intimate garments. Her stomach churned. "Ma, I was hired to clean floors, not this." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "You're a cleaner, girl. Do what you're told, or I'll have my husband fire you for good." Tina's hands trembled, but Rosa's frail face haunted her. She bit her lip and started washing. Hours later, Sophia returned. "Mop the entire house," she ordered. "Every inch." Tina's body screamed in protest, but she obeyed. By midnight, she stumbled out of the mansion, her hands raw, her spirit bruised. She walked home in the dark, the weight of the night pressing on her chest. The next morning, Victor met her at the tower's entrance. "My wife says you argued before doing her laundry," he said coldly. "If you want to keep this job, you'll clean my shoes every morning and kiss them to prove they're spotless." Tina's lips quivered. "Sir, I Do it or leave, he snapped. The lobby fell silent. The receptionist froze. A guard shook his head. Tina knelt, wiped his shoe, and kissed it. The whispers began. She's doing it again. No shame. Tina heard them, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. Rosa needed her. Day after day, Tina knelt, her pride crumbling with each kiss. But what drove her to endure such humiliation? A love so fierce it could withstand anything, until the day it all fell apart. Months passed, each morning a repeat of the last. Tina arrived early, waited by the glass doors, and performed her ritual when Victor's Mercedes pulled in. Some days, she forgot, and Victor would bellow, "Cleaner girl, my shoes." The entire lobby would turn, their stares piercing her skin. Tina would rush forward, kneel, and obey, the whispers trailing her like shadows. Poor girl. She's desperate. She carried their words like a heavy load, but she never dropped it. At home, Rosa's coughs grew worse, her body weaker. Tina's shame was a small price to pay for her mother's life. But beneath it all, a secret simmered. A truth so profound it would unravel everything. Tina didn't know it, but the man who owned Pinnacle Towers, the real power behind Victor's arrogance, was closer to her than she could imagine. One Monday afternoon, the tower's air was crisp, the hum of keyboards and phones filling the lobby. Tina mopped the floor, her movements mechanical, when the glass doors swung open. Sophia stormed in, her red dress blazing, her eyes sharp as daggers. "Cleaner girl," she snapped. Tina looked up, her heart racing. "Follow me. My clothes and the children's need washing." "Now." Tina gripped her mop, her pulse thundering. She stood straight, her voice steady. "No, Ma. I clean here, not your home. Hire a dry cleaner." The lobby froze. The receptionist gasped. Sophia's face twisted. "What did you say?" "I said no," Tina repeated, her voice calm but firm. "I'm not your servant." Sophia's eyes blazed. "You little rat. You dare insult me in public." She whipped out her phone. "Victor, fire this girl now. She disrespected me in front of everyone." Minutes later, Victor stormed in, his face a storm cloud. "Tina, you're done. Pack your things and leave." Tina's heart sank, but she didn't beg. She didn't kneel. She turned, picked up her mop, and walked out, her head high. The whispers followed her, but for the first time, she felt light, as if she'd shed a weight she'd carried too long. Tina walked away from everything, her job, her mother's lifeline, her dignity. But what she didn't know was that the truth was about to crash into her life like a tidal wave, revealing a secret that would turn her world upside down. Don't go anywhere. That evening, Tina returned to their cramped Adjugunal home. Rosa lay on the mat, her breathing shallow, her wrapper pulled tight. Tina sat beside her, silent. Rosa's eyes fluttered open. "You're home early, my child." Tina's voice broke. "I was fired, Mama. I refused to wash Sophia's clothes again." Rosa's eyes widened. "You said no." Tina nodded. "I couldn't take it anymore, Mama. The shame, the insults, it's too much." Rosa's hand trembled as she reached for Tina's. "But how will we survive? My medicine, our food," her voice cracked. "You must go back, Tina. Beg them. For me." Tina shook her head, tears falling. "I can't, Mama. I won't." Rosa's grip tightened. "Then I'll go with you. If you can't kneel alone, I'll kneel beside you. We go tomorrow." Tina looked into her mother's eyes, seeing pain, love, and a stubborn hope. She nodded. "Okay, Mama, we'll go." The next morning, they dressed in their best, Tina in a clean blouse and skirt, Rosa in her faded church wrapper. They walked through Adjugunal's dusty streets, holding each other like soldiers heading to battle. At Pinnacle Towers, the security guard, Chitty, stopped them. "Tina, you're not allowed here. You were sacked." Tina's voice was soft but firm. "Please, Chitty, we just need to see Mr. Okoye for a moment." Chitty sighed, glancing at Rosa's frail form. "Wait outside." They stood by the gate, the sun beating down. Then Victor's Mercedes rolled in, its tires crunching arrogantly. He stepped out, his suit pristine, his eyes cold. Tina dropped to her knees, her handkerchief ready. Before she could touch his shoe, Victor's voice boomed. "Don't even try it. You're fired. Leave now." Tina froze. Then Rosa knelt beside her, her frail body trembling. "Please, sir," Rosa pleaded. "She's just a child. If she loses this job, we have nothing." Victor's lip curled. Pathetic. Always begging. Always blaming others for your misery. He waved a hand. "Security." Rosa tried again, her voice breaking. "Please, sir, get out." Victor shouted. "I'm expecting the company's owner today. A man of class, not street beggars like you." Tina helped Rosa stand, and they shuffled toward the gate, defeated. Just then, another black SUV pulled in, its presence commanding. Inside sat a man in his late 50s, his face strong yet kind, his eyes deep with thought. He didn't glance at the two women as his car glided past. Rosa froze, her breath catching. Tina noticed her mother's tears, but said nothing. They didn't know the man in that car was the key to their past and their future. Who was the man in the SUV, and why did Rosa's heart stop when she saw him? A secret from 20 years ago was about to unravel, and when it did, it would shake the very foundations of Pinnacle Towers. As they reached the bus stop, Rosa clutched her chest. "My purse," she whispered. "I dropped it when I knelt." Tina nodded. "Let's go back." They returned to the gate, where Chitty sighed, but let them in. "Be quick," he said. Near the entrance, Rosa's small black purse lay on the marble. As she bent to pick it up, a deep voice called out, "Ada." Rosa froze, her hand trembling. She turned slowly, her eyes meeting those of the man from the SUV. "Chukwuma," she gasped, her voice barely a whisper. Tina looked between them, confused. The man, Chukwuma, stepped closer, his face a mix of shock and sorrow. "Ada, is it really you? Where have you been all these years?" Rosa's lips trembled, tears spilling. Tina's heart raced. "Mama, who is this?" Before Rosa could answer, Victor stormed out, phone in hand. "Sir," he said to Chukwuma, "these are the beggars I told you about, loitering all morning." Chukwuma didn't hear him. His eyes were locked on Rosa. "Ada," he said, his voice heavy, "the pregnancy, what happened?" Rosa nodded slowly, turning to Tina. "This is her, Chukwuma. I kept the baby. Her name is Tina." Chukwuma's breath caught. He stared at Tina, his eyes filling with tears. "My daughter." Tina's world tilted. "Mama, what is he saying?" Rosa's voice broke. "He's your father, Tina. I couldn't tell you. He was my boss, and things were complicated." Tina's knees buckled. The father she'd longed to know was standing before her, the true owner of Pinnacle Towers. And she'd been kissing the shoes of a man who worked for him. Chukwuma pulled them into an embrace. "I've searched for you, Ada. After we parted, I knew I was wrong. I tried to find you, but you were gone." Victor's face paled. "Sir, she's your daughter?" Chukwuma's eyes hardened. "Yes, Victor. The girl you've humiliated for months is my daughter. And this woman you call the beggar is the mother of my child." The lobby fell silent, staff peering through the glass, their whispers stilled. Rosa wiped her tears. "You told me to abort her, Chukwuma. You said your wife couldn't know. So I left. I raised her alone." Chukwuma's shoulders sagged. "I was a coward. My wife lied to me. She passed off another man's child as mine. A DNA test exposed her. We divorced years ago, and I've been searching for you ever since." Tina sobbed, overwhelmed. "All this time, I asked about you, and Mama never told me." Chukwuma touched her shoulder. "I can't change the past, Tina, but I'll never leave you again." The air shifted, heavy with truth. Chukwuma turned to Victor, his voice like steel. "You made my daughter kiss your shoes." Victor stammered. "Sir, I didn't know. That's the problem," Chukwuma snapped. "You only respect those with power. You're fired, Victor. Now." Victor fell to his knees, pleading, but Chukwuma's face was stone. Tina stepped forward, her voice clear. "You treated me like dirt because I was poor. No one deserves that." The staff watched, silent, as Victor's empire crumbled. Justice was served, but the story doesn't end here. What happened to Tina and her mother? And how did she rise from the ashes of humiliation? The final chapter will leave you speechless. That day, Chukwuma took Rosa to the best hospital in Lagos. Doctors ran tests, prescribed proper medication, and placed her in a room with soft sheets and warm light. Tina held her mother's hand, smiling. "No more shame, Mama." Rosa's eyes glistened. "God has answered, my child." The next morning, Chukwuma brought Tina to the boardroom. "This is my daughter, Tina," he announced. "She'll serve as acting CEO while I oversee changes. This company will stand for fairness, not cruelty." The room erupted in applause. Tina's first act was a memo. "Respect all staff, regardless of position. Violators will be sanctioned." She signed Victor's termination letter herself, her hand steady. 3 months later, Rosa recovered fully and moved into a new home with Tina. Chukwuma introduced them as his family, and Tina was sent abroad to study, vowing to return and build a legacy of compassion. She wasn't just a cleaner. She was a daughter, a leader, and proof that no one's worth is defined by their circumstances. What a journey, right? Tina's story reminds us that no matter how low life pushes you, your strength and truth can lift you higher than you ever imagined. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment. Tell us what Tina's courage taught you. Subscribe for more stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us of the power within us all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.